You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today, man, we're going to be talking to Kenny Stone. And Kenny Stone Feinstein, man. So he is in LA, but he came through LA from, Portland, Oregon. So we're going to have him talk about his band that he found. And the website real quick is watertowerband.com. And Water Tower, man, it has a long history. So without further ado, I just want to welcome Kenny to the show and say, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm so honored to be on I Am Refocused Radio. This is great. I've been looking forward to this a long time. Glad to be here, my friend.
So, man, before we go into your band that you are the founder of, let's tell people a little bit about your history, man. Tell us about Portland.
Heck yeah, man. I was living in Portland. I left there about 6 years ago to come to Los Angeles, and I had left there to kind of leave my problems behind. I was dealing with addiction to drugs and alcohol and all kinds of stuff. So I had been touring the world with the band and stuff, but I left there to get out of my problems, but all my problems came with me. So I had to deal with them here when I got to LA. But yeah, man, I love Portland for sure, but I had to be out in LA where the sun was at for me to continue my journey in music.
And, LA, I mean, it's something special when you hear about cities like LA and New York. What is it about LA that drew you where it's like, all right, you know what, let's start that next step down there?
That's a good question, man. The first time we toured to LA about maybe 10, 11 years ago, it was the only city that I had ever been to. When we were leaving the city, looking at the hills, looking at the Hollywood sign and all the beauty, I had the sense that I shouldn't be leaving. And I had never had that anywhere. I grew up in Southeast Asia in Singapore from 1st to 7th grade, and then Mexico City for 3 years, and then Portland. And we had started in Portland and ended in Portland. So I made a weird loop around the world and back. Anywhere I had gone, I never had that feeling. I was fortunate to travel with my parents, but so that's the thing, is that every time I'd leave LA, I had that feeling. So I decided to just move here, and it was the right thing to do, where the climate suits my clothes, so to speak.
And we're going to get this later in the show, but your band, y'all are going to be releasing a debut album, Fly Around. And actually, it was released 2 days ago, March 27th.
In the UK, exactly. Yes. Yeah. We had released it in the US right in the middle of COVID last year, but we decided to go fresh with it this year and do a UK release because our UK people hadn't officially gotten it, and this is what it looks like. I know all the people in Radio Land can't see it, but
right on the money. And this is video too. So
cool.
That's spot on. I mean, that's when you're working with pros because they had their props and their stuff ready to go. So, man, let's talk about this project, because even though it was released in the US before the UK, tell us about this project, man. What inspired it, and give us a little background on it.
Okay, man. Well, the good question. Thank you. We had done 5 records under our old name, Water Tower Bucket Boys. And actually, we were the Water Tower String Band. We were the Water Tower Bucket Boys. Many different iterations of Water Tower. We decided to kick the bucket and just go with Water Tower to simplify things and symbolize our move away from, drugs and alcohol, and a cleaner water tower with just pure water. And so that's what this album Fly Around symbolized. It was supposed to symbolize that. It was supposed to take 3 weeks, but it ended up taking 6.5, 7 years to come out. And because
it's definitely pure now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wasn't expecting that, but ended up in jail a few times and rehab a few times, in the hospital a few times. And I just kept running on the hamster wheel until the pain of getting loaded outweighed the pain of staying sober. And so this album of my trials and tribulations throughout the last 7 years of trying to figure it out, and our fans, for a lot of time, I was estranged from our fans. Like I didn't talk on social media or anything. So I was just missing. And, I had ostracized everyone in my life. I was isolated by myself. And so I sort of came out of the woodwork when COVID happened. It was just timing happened that way. And so it's been a really positive thing for me to turn my life around and share my message of hope.
And let's dive into that, man, because someone listening right now, you never know what anybody's going through. And this could be a perfect episode that someone just tuned in. And by the way, you listen to I Am Refocused Radio. We're talking to Kenny Stone Feinstein, and we're also learning all about his band and about this project. And the band is Water Tower. So for those who are listening right now, let's dive deeper into that struggle part, because that's the real stuff right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I thought I had big problems. I thought I was different than everyone else, but I've realized that really we're all human and I'm the same as everybody, and my ego was trying to separate me from other people and trying to see how we were different. And once I could break down all the differences and understanding is where love grows from me. When I can understand somebody, I can love them. So I've been able to experience love as a way of being now, whereas before I was very negative. And this is all a result of the hard work I've been doing on myself, because like I said, for so long, I was trying to get out of my present moment. And that's what addiction to drugs and alcohol did for me. They took away my present moment that I was in and squandered them so that I wouldn't have to feel the pain that I was currently in, or the pain I was afraid of being in 5 minutes, which is often a lot worse than the pain you're actually going to be in. The pain that I think I'm going to be in.
Yeah. And when you are in, or when you were in that situation,
yeah,
how did you manage to keep your head above water? Because there's situations where not everybody is able to get through it.
Yeah, man. And that's a good question. How did I keep my head above water? You know what I mean? It's a day-to-day thing. I still work really hard to have a daily reprieve, to where I get up in the morning and I do a workout, a meditation, some breathing, and I listen to some music. I play a little music. It's a daily thing. You know what I mean? So the way I get out of it now is I do it one day at a time. I don't think about the rest of my life. That can be scary. But when I was in the middle of it, there were a lot of times, I'll be honest, where I didn't think making it, living another day would matter. For me, I lived to use at that point, and use to live. And, it's like I came into the world an honest boy, and really was corrupted in a lot of ways by just, being socialized into the world. And I just had to do a lot of research on the darker side of life. That's how I got through it. The only way out was through for me. That hard work, looking into myself, sharing with another human being, that was hard for me to share with my friends, share with my family, to share with my loved ones. I didn't know how to tell them what I was feeling, because I thought I needed to cover it up. And the way I was covering it up was by using drugs and alcohol,
And once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio. We're talking to Kenny Stone Feinstein, and you go to the website, watertowerband.com. And we can't forget your members, man. We got give a shout out to Joe and Tommy, and tell us about the whole chemistry with the band, because not everybody gets exclusive access like this. So give your fans a little stuff that they don't know. Like, this is almost breaking news for them. Like, they just listen to your songs, but tell them a little bit about the band and how y'all get along, and how is the process like when y'all making music?
Well, thank you, man. I love your questions. So talented. I have your name written here, but I don't want to mess it up. How do I say your name?
Oh, Shemaiah.
Shemaiah. It's so great I love your questions, Shemaiah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm lucky to have a good team around me, and one of the things our fans do know about us is that we've had a lot of ex-members. We're on our 29th bass player.
Wow. That's a hard band, man.
Yeah, dude. A lot of it was working with my personality. I was tough to work with. But there's been iterations of this band when I was in rehab, like that. I've never even met some of the members who played as Water Tower on festival stages and stuff. So this band is a community effort. It's led by families, my family, my friends, our fans, who we call the Owls. Actually, we call them the Owls. So all the Owls are listening right now. And so one thing they wouldn't know about, say, the chemistry between the three of us right now. And like I said, the three of us are kind of a core. Sometimes there's 10 of us on stage, depending on where we are in the world, because there's so many ex-members who we're still family and friends with. But yeah, between Joe and Tommy, thanks for dropping them, Shemaiah. We're just like brothers. At one point we lived at this house together. We call this Water Tower corporate. And, now everybody has girlfriends. So we grew up into our separate places, but we have a good chemistry. We live like brothers, and, we all eat together, and it's really a family dynamic, because, the way that we wanted to rebuild the band, because like they said, there's a 15-year history. Rebuilding the band now in the age of COVID and social media was by being together, learning how to live together and be friends, and then sharing our process of sharing with the rest of the people. So it's a very close relationship.
And speaking of COVID, I mean, it hit everywhere. It wasn't just on one block. It was on every single block. How did y'all manage to get through this whole COVID stuff? Because, man, that thing is something that it's just crazy. I mean, there's almost no words to it. How did your band adapt to that situation?
That's a great question, man. It is. There almost are no words, right? It's just so crazy the amount of stuff that it has changed for us. But we got through it by having each other, bro. Like that's the thing is that when the lockdown happened, we were living here, and Joe had flown across to see his parents for a few days. He was going to come back, and the lockdown happened right as he flew across. So he got stuck on the East Coast, and we got stuck in here, and we just, at first it was like, oh, it'll open up soon. But then all of a sudden, when it wasn't open up, we canceled all of our touring and all that stuff. And we had to pivot, man. But the thing about me and like Tommy, for example, too, like, is that we didn't take any time to think about it. It was just like, okay, we can't do this. Let's go this way. And so this has been the best time for our band, and I don't want to say that ignoring anyone's pain or anyone's that they've gone through for their band at this time. But this for our band has been the most advantageous thing because we could connect with our audience online, which we really weren't doing before. And we've only been doing it for a year now. And I mean, before we would post here and there, you know what I mean? But really didn't know what we were doing. And now we build a relationship with our fans on a level that bands could never do in the past. We can connect with our fans in France and Germany and all around the world and build this relationship. And our fans are building relationships together. It's a beautiful thing.
And that's the key because relationships, they make or break deals. And music industry is all about that. I know you and your band know too well about that process. For those who are in that creative space as a music artist or a band or whatever, what words of wisdom do you have to the younger bands and the younger musicians as far as building those relationships, whether it's with their people, their camp, or if it's on the professional level and working inside the industry?
That's really good advice, Shemaiah. Good idea for advice, Shemaiah. Thank you for asking that. The good advice that was given to me is to never stop. Now just keep going with your dream. That's something that really inspired me. Laura Jane Grace, the singer of Against Me, told me that years ago after a show when I was a kid. And I said, what advice do you have? Like, I want to be like you, and she was like, just don't ever stop. Don't give up your dream. So that's one thing. The other advice about making connections in the music industry or in general is that I'm a teacher. But as a teacher, like I'm a music teacher too, I realize that I'm also a student and all my students are also my teachers. So just realizing that all my friends, everyone I meet, you Shemaiah, you're my teacher. I'm learning so much from you right now. So just to be humble with everybody we meet and to be able to see the little bit of you inside of the person you're talking to, no matter who it is, no matter what their beliefs, we can all learn something from someone and distill the signal of what it is they're trying to tell us, even if it's something we don't like.
That's facts, man. What you just said, I think is very important because whoever's listening, it can apply to any career. It doesn't have to be just a music industry or whatever. It could be, military. It could be business owner, corporate world. If you're trying to work up the ladder, that works for every single space. When you see the success that your band has had over the years and you as an individual, what's some of the things that you have learned along the way, along your journey in trying to build an idea into something to what it is right now?
Wow, Shemaiah, these are some of the best questions I've ever had, bro. Thank you for that. What are some of the things that helped me build this idea? Is that what you meant? Like how, like along the road? Can you clarify a little more for me?
Yeah. What are some of the things that you learned along the journey of the process of developing your idea and your brand to a reality?
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah, man. So some of the main things to make it a reality have been taking it out of my mind into the physical realm. So making a sticker, is like a first thing. Making a pick, for example, we have these picks that say Water Tower Life on them. You know what I mean? And that was for me because I play green picks. And so I'd buy 10 green picks at a time and spend my whole day playing them and have to go buy 10 new green picks. So instead, I just figured, why don't we just have our own and then be able to give them out to people? So bringing, and then now our tower fans, the tower heads or the owls, we have a shreddy pick program where we have hundreds of picks. We shred through them fast. So we send them to our fans and they make them into earrings and they'll be selling them to each other and stuff. So I could have never anticipated that. No, you know what I mean? In a million years that would be happening. So making it a reality, taking it from your mind to a physical world, that changes everything. That's one of the big things about making your business, making your band, making your life a reality. Whatever it is in your head, put it in somebody's hand and tell them how much you care about it.
And with your history, because we know now, those who've been listening, by the way, on Folks Radio, talking to Kenny Stone, Feinstein, we've been hearing your process. I mean, you mentioned earlier in the show, the struggle, and then we learned about LA being that little light at the end of the tunnel as an opportunity. And now we're here. I mean, we're here. You're here on the show and you're telling us the backstory. What are some of the things that you see in your own life that you would have told your younger self? Like, if you were that educated and you were to mentor yourself years ago, what would be some of the things that you would tell a younger version of you?
Wow. The best advice I think I would give myself to the past that would help me would be to not take anything personally about what other people say, because I was living a lot of my life for other people's expectations, people I cared about, people I didn't care about, what they would think based on what I was doing and what I was saying. And I would go back and I would say, none of that matters. All you have to do is trust yourself and you don't stray from that, and I would say that's what I would tell myself of the past from now.
I mean, once again, LA, that's a magic city. I mean, that's in everybody's conversation. I mean, y'all got the Lakers. I mean, y'all got LeBron. I'm just saying, LA, shout out to y'all. And countless movie stars. The hip hop scene. Everything.
Yeah.
Every genre of music. LA is a very unique space, just like New York and just like any city. Because anybody who's listening right now, I'm like, wait, hold up, man. You ain't going to just X my city out, man.
Yeah, no, all cities. Yeah.
But what's special about LA is there's so much hunger for the arts, whether it's the film or if it's just music. What have you been able to absorb from other creative minds in LA as far as learning from different perspectives and pursuing art?
Wow. Yeah. There are so many creative minds around LA. And yes, you're right. I like what you say, that there's something special about this place. Just like any city, all of y'all's cities are so special. Every city I've been to is special, but you're right. In LA, there's a concentration of creative people who are passionate, like crazy enough to chase after a passionate dream, that's in their head. And that's, I think, one of the things I've learned through the people here in Los Angeles is that there is no dream too big or too quote unquote crazy, that whatever it is that's in your head, you can make it happen. And things happen so quickly here. It's just really important to speak your truth where you're at and to go find your people. When I left Portland, I knew we had made a lot of friends and a lot of fans, but I felt like LA, they would understand the music a little better just because I was from California originally. But I just had to go where I was called. And like I said, the people here remind me to chase that dream, no matter how tall it is, because there's a lot of tall dreams out here.
And your band, y'all are also involved in community efforts as well. Speaking of cities and stuff like that, y'all are also a part of ASPCA.org. Tell the audience a little bit, what is that organization and how are y'all involved in that?
Well, we just love animals, and we're involved in, we like to try to help out different communities, ASPCA specifically, helping people get foster an animal, and not having to buy, say, a new one or a purebred one, or just get one. Like in LA, we have a lot of kitties or dogs that are on the streets, things like that, helping these animals find a place, and part of that is we just love animals. Like, for example, this morning, me and the band were playing music on the side of the road, because that's one thing we do is at freeway off ramps out here in LA. We come at 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. at the rush hour and we play our music. So this morning we have a lot of dogs drive by. I have some footage I could send you later where we have a lot of footage on our TikTok, for example. If you search Water Tower Life on TikTok, you'll come up with a bunch of videos of us playing to dogs, because what we found is that the dogs love our music when they drive by. They love the banjo. So a dog will stick its head out the window and we'll get to play to it. And there's just a connection. Dogs love music. So do cats. And so, yes, we're involved in trying to source homes for them.
That sounds like a song. Dogs love music.
Dogs love music. Yes, that should be a song. I'm going to write that.
But what's cool about this interview is the whole scope. You mentioned about not just being humble and being a student, but there's something about that a lot of people don't get when it comes to being successful in life. It doesn't matter what field you are. It doesn't matter what career you are. I mean, success leaves clues. For you as an influencer, there's someone out there who's like, man, I wish I could do it like so-and-so. I mean, everybody want to be like Mike. You know, everybody want to do this, do that. What do you say to those people who are so busy trying to be in the rat race? What advice do you give them to slow things down a little bit and understand where they really are?
I think that's a great question. I think that it's really important. You alluded to slowing down the rat race. The most important thing to do is realize our own power and the seat of our own power. And the most powerful thing we have is our own voice. And when we emulate someone else, we can't help but sound like ourselves. So it's important sometimes, if you have an idol, to be like Mike, or, you know, to be like Kobe, to be like LeBron, to be like Eric Clapton, to learn their licks, to learn their moves, but to know that you're only going to be able to do them your way, and your voice is why you're here. And that's the most important thing. And to realize that, to get the answers, I would say that the answers, if I had to boil everything down right now, my philosophy, the answers will come from deep breathing and awareness with oneself. And that's scary. That's scary for people. A lot of my students don't want to do it because they're like, it's not what's happening when I'm closing my eyes, I'm breathing. What's supposed to be happening? Like, nothing's supposed to happen. We're just supposed to breathe and hear what our thoughts are. That's the answer for me, though.
Yeah. And the easy way to translate that for our listeners is reflection. I mean, just like the show, refocus. I mean, you know, the whole concept of the show, Refocus, is basically every day we have a chance to get clarity. And it can be faith, it can be education, it could be self-help, it could be anything. It could be creating a song, it could be riding a bike, it can be basically you getting off the couch.
Yes,
it's basically. I just had an interview with Kim Cameron, and she was talking about consistency, and she was saying sometimes you just gotta look from a different perspective, because we are humans. We kind of have that nature of being routine. We just do the same thing every day. Get up, eat some food, go to sleep, get up, you know, same process. Mm-hmm. She was saying a lot of times you got to just switch up. You got to do life different sometimes. Instead of complaining about yesterday, oh, that was terrible. We get in those negative traps. Mm-hmm. And I call those stunting growths, because what happens is you see an obstacle in front of you. Instead of finding a way to get through it, you just talk about the obstacle. Like, you just standing there saying, hey, doesn't that look crazy? And you just telling everybody, hey, doesn't that? But the smart one is the one who finds the way through that obstacle, versus pausing and being stuck mentally and preventing themselves. That makes sense? Preventing themselves from getting through that situation.
Kind of like taking contrary action.
There you go. It's like, I think I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. Like, wouldn't that not make sense? Like, if one of your band members was thinking about playing music and versus just playing, like, hey, come on, man, just play.
Yes.
Because basically what I'm trying to get at, to land the plane, is we can sometimes overthink situations. Like, so many people like yourselves who are going through this COVID stuff, we don't have time to just think about things. COVID has taught a lot of us that we have to just make adjustments on the fly and just make it happen. There's no such thing as, hey, let's wait and, you know, see a few weeks go by and see if we can reflect and think about this. No, you really reflect after you take the action.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem, I think. I think a lot of times we try to reflect before we take the action. You should reflect after you start taking the action, because if we don't take action, it could be 30 years from now. You still did take that first step.
Yeah, you could get paralyzed. The intellect can paralyze you. That's a great way to refocus it, to take action rather than just sitting there and start thinking about it. Just do it. I love that.
Like, can you imagine if I did a warm up on this show and we still didn't do the show? Like, that's what I'm talking about. You got to make that move. You can't be afraid. So for the youngins out there, what would you tell them as far as how they can just take that first step and whatever they're trying to do, if it's be a band or whatever? What would you tell the young people out there who just need that boost, that motivation?
I would tell the young people that no matter what anybody tells you, you're amazing and you're beautiful and you're strong just the way you are, just the way you were put on this earth. And now is the time to go out and do whatever it is that you want. Anything that you've been deferring, now is the time to do what you want right here, right now, while we're talking on Refocus Radio. This is the time to do it. Don't wait. Do it now, whatever it is.
And once again, we've been talking to Kenny Stone Feinstein, and also go to the band's website, watertowerband.com. They always say time flies when you're having fun. I felt like this ice never got in the freezers, but that's just me. But
yes, sir, me too.
They call me the metaphor king, but I just say I don't need a crown. But anyway, when you see the opportunities that you have ahead, what do you see as far as goals in the near future for Water Tower?
As far as goals, I see us meeting more friends and just expanding the family, you know, and today we met you, and that's expanding the family. So more friends, more love, just the expansion of love. That's my purpose. That's the purpose of Water Tower.
Well, once again, you heard it first on I Am Refocused Radio. We've been here kicking it with Kenny Stone Feinstein, and go to the website one more time. That is watertowerband.com. You download our shows on iHeart, Spotify, you know the drill, everywhere. IamRefocusedRadio.com. Like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused,
God first,
and peace.
Peace.